this on the seminar to pay attention to the sustainable development. And now I will give the floor to Madam Qiu Aijun, the Deputy Director General of CCUD, to release the secondary urban connectivity Chinese version. Thank you. The ideas of the alliance was also introduced before. In 2019, the City Alliance introduced the secondary urban connectivity, which is the English version, which studied the studies of 100,000 to 1.5 million population, focusing on the increase of the connectivity and the network of these urban areas to give the more equal opportunities for their development.
Such a document is very helpful for small cities in China to further grow their economy. Therefore, for CCUD, work together with City Alliance to translate this. It's not very thick, just less than 100 pages. We hope that this could provide a new perspective to you. And this year also is the year that we make the 14th five-year plan, and we hope that this research can provide a reference to the making of the 14th five-year plan. After the seminar, you can scan the QR code and enter our WeChat account. And after filling in the questionnaire, you will have access to the Chinese version. Well, this is only a pilot version. You can also download the English version on the City Alliance website. Now I would like to give the floor to Professor Brian Robert to introduce.
Madam Chair, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased to be able today to present the Chinese version of the book, Connecting Systems of Secondary Cities. And I thank the organisation for inviting me, and particularly for Cities Alliance, for being involved in this partnership. I'm going to switch to my sharing screen so that I can show you the presentation. This book is, in fact, a continuation of a series of books which looks at managing systems of secondary cities. Earlier editions were published in Spanish, and this new book on connecting systems of secondary cities is now available from today in Chinese. The main aim of this book is to show how enhancing or improving connectivity between cities can support and strengthen opportunities for new economic development opportunities, jobs and investment. The Chinese version of the book includes additional material showing the way that Chinese cities can improve connectivity and collaboration to support sustainable development. In these difficult times we're facing economically at present, we're going to need to look at ways of how to enhance particularly the internal growth of economies. And I think there are a lot of concepts and ideas and practical examples in the book showing how this can be done. There are three basic types of secondary cities. What are we talking about secondary cities here? We're talking in the context of China, your prefecture and your larger county cities. In the context of other parts and regions of the world, we're talking of cities of 100,000 up to 1 million in population. They form a very important secondary level function within the development of national economies. They're important logistics centres, some of them are important industry centres, Many are capitals of regional provinces or counties in the context of China. They're home to about 18% of the world's population, but they provide an important link between 58% of the world's population that live in rural and regional areas and smaller towns, and the more than 20% that live in the large metropolitan regions. They're facing many challenges, as those of you from mayors and vice mayors from cities in China well know. The difficulty in attracting investment, there are very high transaction costs. It's difficult to compete against the larger cities, particularly for new development, new investment opportunities. So subsequently, what is happening globally is secondary cities around the world, particularly in more developing, less developing economies, are suffering. There are significant inequities in terms of GDP, poverty, and other economic indicators between the secondary cities and the larger metropolitan regions. As a result of this, we're having to think very carefully about how we can enhance the performance of secondary cities, because they do have a critical role in national supply chains. And if that link, in other words, if their logistics functions, their governance functions are not performing well, that has an effect not only on the performance of metropolitan and rural and regional economies, but the economies of countries as a whole. So this book sets out some initiatives and strategies in the way that secondary cities can enhance their competitiveness, productivity, and performance, particularly through a focus on collaboration. First, we must begin looking at how to enhance the competitiveness of the cities themselves. The focus here is on looking at ways of improving value chain connectivity between industries and activities, the growth of industry clusters, strengthening of the enabling environment, strengthening of governance systems. All of these things are critical. More details of this are outlined in the book. But the next most important step, and this comes close to the BRI Initiative, is the focus on two strategic initiatives. One is the linking and enhancing connectivity between secondary systems of cities along corridors. This is within the country. The idea here is to focus on getting a network partnerships developed between cities so that they can collaborate to try and reduce transaction costs, try to get industries connected, try to enhance value-adding production systems. And in the process of doing this, we actually create new corridor markets which can collectively provide some competition and new market and development opportunities compared to large metropolitan regions. These metropolitan regions now dominate GDP. More over 300 metropolitan regions in the world control more than 50% of GDP, which means, as they only have 20% of the world's population, means the rest of the country is not benefiting. The second critical initiative is basically focusing on networks of regional cities collaborating, so that what you get is a system of trading cities. The linkage could be here in sharing data and information, networking industries in order to produce a wider range of products, collaborating on research and development. There are a number of initiatives, and these are detailed in the book, and they're a way of strengthening the capacity. The BRI Initiative is an important initiative developed by China. The focus in many cases on international economic development, trade development corridors. These have existed through centuries, in fact, from way back as far as the Silk Road. But the modern development of these is looking at how can we focus on connecting different industries and clusters of activity along the major transportation corridors. So the BRI is important in this context, both within China, but is important globally, as are similar kind of initiatives in Europe and in Latin America. Now, critical to the development of secondary cities is the focus on infrastructure. Now, hard infrastructure, we know, investment in road, rail, logistics pipelines, all of these are needed in order to enhance the competitiveness of the secondary cities. However, what is emerging is the focus on soft infrastructure. This is the focus on knowledge systems, sharing of data and information, streamlining administration procedures. For example, if you want to travel between Laos and Thailand, it takes you 2 days to get permits just for a truck to cross the bridge. It's a lot of the streamlining soft infrastructure using applications of the digital economy, the Internet of Things. All of this is now a critical element of building the software infrastructure to connect cities to enhance their productivity, performance, and their new investment opportunities. The book contains a number of examples of the way different cities in the world have worked towards collaboration, enhancing connectivity. One of the good examples is the BRI Initiative conducted by the Alibaba Group in the country, where we see over 700 counties and 300,000 villages that are connected, which has enabled them to reduce their costs of acquiring goods and services and to connect a number of businesses into new markets. So this initiative is now being expanded into Malaysia and many other countries. So sorry, I just got to get it, apologize. In summing this up, the book provides some important new approaches and thinking for China in terms of thinking in sub-national development and regional development. It offers Chinese speakers, in particular, some insights into what they can do to improve city competitiveness, how they can collaborate, how they can create subnational markets for goods and services as an alternative to a sole focus on international exports. So it will help formulate national and regional policies. I believe some of the initiatives will help to reduce transaction costs. And I also think that it will lead to improved knowledge sharing and more sustainable development outcomes for cities. I wish to thank the Cities Alliance and the China Centre for Urban Development for the work which has gone into the production of this book. A Spanish version is currently being produced. I encourage you all to read the book, which is available on both organisations' websites. I thank you very much, and I hope that the deliberations of today go well. Thank you.